Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
I believe everybody has the program. Okay. Right now we're going to have a presentation on universal health coverage for global surgery in sub-Saharan Africa and the importance and challenges and lessons for Cameroon.
Good morning to everyone once more.
Good morning.
I will directly get into the presentation. As we all know, universal health coverage, as defined by the World Bank and the World Health Organization, has come to be a means of attaining safe and quality health care for each and everyone wherever they are each time it is needed. Generally, when we talk about universal health coverage, we seem to forget about the surgical portion of the coverage, since most of the diseases which we are aware of are malaria, HIV/AIDS, and other internal medical diseases, but we tend to forget about the surgical portion of the body. So, according to the World Health Organization, universal health coverage means every person, all populations, wherever they are, have access to promotive, preventive, curative, rehabilitative, and palliative health care, and are protected from financial hardship. Which means the definition of the universal health coverage encompasses three main objectives: equity in health access, quality in the health care provided, and financial risk protection. It therefore comes across as a strategic tool in attaining the health-related sustainable development goals through provision of coverage for financial health provision gaps and health provision gaps and financial difficulties encountered by the low and middle income countries. Among these low and middle income countries are sub-Saharan African countries, which represent 48 countries according to the World Bank, located south to the Sahara Desert in the African continent. Healthcare in these countries is characterized by three main points. First, insufficient health funding and low health expenditures, as most of these countries have a low gross development product, and the available resources are diverted into peace and security issues and economic malpractices that scourge these different countries. Second, the disorganized health system. The weakness of this health system is portrayed first in the dissociation between the health policy and the implemented strategies. Second, low resources, be they human workforce to implement the decided strategies, or infrastructural institutions to implement the strategies decided by the state institutions. Third, in poor data collection, analysis, and archiving system, which characterizes these areas. And as a result of all of this, we have inefficient decision-making organs, insufficient strategy implementation, and dysfunctional feedback mechanisms for a review of the work that has been performed following these strategies. Lastly, the third point, the catastrophic health outcomes that result from this, because generally, due to the lack of awareness from these diseases, we have preventable deaths that occur, first, and secondly, we have catastrophic health expenses due to the great out-of-pocket expenditures by the healthcare receivers. Next. The part of the disease burden that scourge these different sub-Saharan countries is represented by surgical diseases. The essence of global surgery is therefore to improve surgical healthcare quality and equity in these different regions, with a particular focus on the countries and populations which are underserved and sustaining crisis. Why therefore focus on global surgery? Because as we said at the beginning, universal health coverage generally tends to forget the surgical burden of the diseases. So why focus on global surgery? First, the burden of the surgical diseases. As per the Lancet Commission on Global Surgeries data, surgical disease burden globally represents greater portion or greater burden than malaria, HIV/AIDS, and tuberculosis combined. 28 to 32% of the global disease burden can be attributed to surgical diseases. Next, the immense need for surgical healthcare. We are 7 billion individuals on Earth, and more than half of this population, precisely 5 billion, don't have access to safe and quality surgical care. Moreover, this need is greater in low and middle income countries, as statistics shows that the poorest 30% of the world's population have access to only 3 to 6% of the available surgical healthcare, whereas the richest 30% have access to the 75% of this healthcare. This need is greater in sub-Saharan African countries. The World Bank estimates that 95% of Africa's population doesn't have access to safe surgical healthcare. Associated to this, there is statistically proven negligence by the African population and the world in general, as it is shown that from 4,064 national strategic plans analyzed for 43 countries, only 2% of the national strategic plans covered for surgical care. And for the remaining countries, 33% of the national strategic plans didn't at all have any coverage for surgical care. This negligence has consequences which are both human and economic. Human, on the human point of view, 18 million people die per year due to surgical diseases. Economically, at the individual level, there are catastrophic health expenses due to out-of-pocket payment for each patient. Nationally, there is gross domestic product loss due to surgical diseases. And globally, we have an estimated $21 trillion that are lost economically, globally, due to surgical diseases. And more than half of this burden is sustained by low and middle income countries. Moreover, despite these consequences, it is affordable, feasible, and human and economically relevant to invest in global surgery, because it is shown that the cost for action in global surgery is represented by $420 billion, but the cost for non-action is even greater, with an estimated $12.3 trillion and a resultant decrease in gross domestic product growth of 2% globally. So global surgery is a main concern and has to take a main position in universal health coverage. Some sub-Saharan African countries have engaged in global surgery. Taking, for example, the Zambia, which is a pioneer in global surgery initiative with its National Surgery, Obstetrics and Anesthesia Strategic Plan, launched in 2017. Other countries, still sub-Saharan African countries such as Ethiopia, Tanzania, and Rwanda, have taken on the initiative for global surgery. In Cameroon, global surgery is recognized by the Ministry of Public Health, but the designing, launching of the National Surgery Obstetric Anesthesia Plan is still lagging. So, these countries who have engaged in global surgery face certain challenges. The challenges are financial and healthcare provision challenges. Taking for example Zambia, some of the challenges faced include non-contextualized healthcare strategies, as the healthcare strategies are not adapted to the needs of the population in place. Secondly, insufficient resources, be they human resources or infrastructural resources. Thirdly, inappropriate resource allocation, as data is needed in order to strategically allocate the available resources to the different populations according to their needs. Financial difficulties include insufficient funding. So, in this setting, universal health coverage comes as a timely intervention, as it provides coverage both for the financial gap that characterize these low and middle income countries and the healthcare provision gaps. For healthcare provision, it provides technical support for these countries in the designing and implementation of context-adapted strategies for improvement of healthcare. The financial support is brought in as more funding adapted to the country's needs and the country's capacities. Some countries still have engaged in implementing universal health coverage for global surgery, and the main example is still Zambia, as they pioneered the initiative for global surgery. They face challenges still with universal health coverage, including inadequate fundings, as data from the Universal Health Coverage Report in 2015 relate that 70% of the revenues needed for implementation of a universal health coverage program still come from the government. Secondly, inadequate Ministry of Health budgetization. It has been realized that the budget attributed by the universal health coverage focuses more on the secondary and tertiary healthcare facilities, ignoring or forgetting the primary healthcare facilities, which most often are those who receive most of the patient and have the greater burden of the work to do. Lastly, financial burden of the government due to individuals who travel abroad to obtain healthcare which they can't have in the country. Moreover, despite the implementation of universal health coverage in these countries, there is a persistent out-of-pocket expenditure by the patients, which either project a lack of efficiency of the universal health coverage program or is studied in order to obtain the significance. So, from these challenges, what lessons can Cameroon learn for the implementation of universal health coverage in global surgery? First, invest more on research in global surgery, because we cannot change what we cannot measure. We need that data in order to strategically allocate our available resources to adapt to the needs of the population in the different regions. Next, strategies implemented in our context have to be adapted to the needs of the population, be it at the national level or at the level of the different cities, because in different regions the needs are variable and strategies can only be effective if they are adapted to the different contexts. Bringing the private sector into contribution for healthcare, because generally we tend to focus more on the public sector, whereas joining the efforts of the public and the private sector improves the healthcare outcomes. Focusing on strengthening the healthcare system. Increased external funding on a dysfunctional healthcare system will only yield mediocre health outcomes. Each country engaging in universal health coverage has to take into consideration strengthening the healthcare system in place. Such strengthening manifested in the form of better awareness programs, improve strategy implementation organs, improve resources, human workforce and infrastructures, and better assurance organs for increased accountability. And lastly, each country has to focus on proper financial management. Statistics from Universal Health Coverage Report in 2015 suggest that not only does more than 70% of the revenues needed for implementation of a designed universal health coverage program come mainly from the government, but more to that, the median universal health coverage expenditure in the universal health coverage program amounts to $39 US, which represents roughly 1.4% of the gross domestic product. This is a relatively low contribution for the implementation of the universal coverage program and attaining safe and quality surgical healthcare. So, not only do we need the universal coverage program, but each government should be conscious of the fact that the main burden of the financial responsibility still lies on the government. More to that, World Health Organization, which is one of the main funding organs for universal health coverage, statistically proves to lack fundings. So each government should be engaged and conscious of the financial responsibility in order to make this engagement sustainable in achieving safe and quality healthcare. Thank you for your kind attention.